Hello and welcome back to my place, and welcome back to Sherlock Holmes, The Awakened. Turns out some assholes have awakened in America, and now we're forced to, like, hang out. French district, so the Cajuns aren't French? Huh. Okay. Let's go to the French district. Oh, this is nice. This is real nice. Jesus. This is like some Lady and the Tramp shit. Alright. That door is closed. The filthy and the spooky.
Watson, it seems we have arrived at the place. Look there, on the iron door.
They're all a little cookie, the Atkins family. Ba-na-na-na. Ding dong. Ding dong.
Looks like no one is
Milkman.
here, Holmes.
It's a pity, Watson. This is our only lead.
Rickety ass metal door, kick it down.
Good morning, miss. Please don't be alarmed. We won't harm you, my dear. What is your name?
Eula, sir.
Lovely. When we arrived here, you were looking through this gate. This is the residence of Mr. Arneson, isn't it? Do you know him?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if he is at home?
Don't rightly know, sir.
Watson,
Come now, don't distress yourself like this. Why all these tears?
Because of my little brother, Davy. He serves with Mr. Arneson, and been more than 5 days since I heard from him.
perhaps he went on a trip with Mr. Arneson.
No, sir. Tain't likely. I serves at the Gallagher's just the other side of the road. If they had left, I would have seen them. Something bad has happened. I can feel it.
But if you were so near, surely your brother would have cried out for help if there had been any real danger.
No, sir. Davy, he ain't like you and me. He's right smart in some ways. But Davy can't talk. Not a word. Besides, most evenings, we visits and sees each other across the stable door. And been more than 5 days since he been there. Oh, sir. I be mighty scared. Something has happened to him. I just knows it.
Miss, take us to this stable. Watson, I think this place is indeed isolated, and therefore quite vulnerable.
There it be. I gonna go wait on the road. That way, if my mistress calls for me, I can hear.
It is hardly secure, Watson. Regard the lock. It has a primitive wooden latch, which is also quite flimsy.
Knife it is.
Bravo, Holmes!
Dead horse. No, 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 not the horse. Well, I'm not particularly fond of horses, but still, animals, no.
Holmes, this horse is dying of thirst. Poor animal.
He has had no water for these past 5 days, Watson.
Unbearable.
We should get some water for him then. Axe. Water for the horse? You can't leave that poor animal.
This should prove useful.
What is it? Nails. I see.
He can barely move. We must find him some water, and quickly.
I hope this gate is not locked, because it appears quite formidable. Open!
Open! Did you just yell open at the door? Open up, door!
Observe, Watson, these beautiful, well-tended flowers. Someone must care for them.
Water. I need something to hold the water in, though.
What a wretched smell, Holmes.
Quite wretched, Watson. It is the foul stench of death. Closed, tight.
Closed tight. Oh boy. Oh, the stench of death. Oh no. Oh no. That would be blood. That's a dead rat. And spoiled food.
Watson, hold the basin. I think you know what to do with it.
Horse. I'm coming, horse.
Easy now, fellow. Drink up.
Hammer.
What could this be doing here?
Aww. I'm glad. Aww. I'm glad. The horse doesn't deserve to suffer because its owners is a bunch of assholes. We'll have hammer and nails now. That's a good spot. There's plenty of hay over here, buddy. What a good horse. Alright, Holmes. Don't be dead. I did the thing.
Here you are, Watson.
Here you are, Watson. But he gave me stuff, not the other. Whatever.
Closed, tight.
Oh, snap.
Watson, what do you make of this?
What a horrific sight. It has lain here for at least a week.
On the contrary, Watson, once again you see, but fail to observe. The warmth of the local climate and the exceptional humidity undoubtedly sped up the rate of decomposition. Based upon my calculations, the body has been here for 5 days.
Oh no, his brother.
Let's examine the hands. They are calloused, with traces of dirt under the nails. This would be the gardener, no doubt. Let's examine the hands. They are calloused, with traces of dirt under the nails. This would be the gardener, no doubt. Let's examine the hand.
Oh, was that just it? But don't do.
Papers were burned, and great care was taken to destroy everything of any value to our case. We will find nothing further in this place. Interesting. The person who sat here was fond of cigars. Blood! Champagne. Maybe this will satisfy that old man of the same name.
Okay. Let's try upstairs. Master bedroom. Dear Mr. Arneson, it was a rare pleasure to encounter your extraordinarily altruistic attitude towards your employee, young Davy. Few would have made the efforts to discover the truth of his affliction, and most would have discharged the boy from their services without hesitation. It is fortunate that Dr. Gallagher, who has expertise in these matters, is also your neighbor. Without his intervention, it is doubtful he would have been introduced, and then you would not have had the answers about this young man that you have been seeking. First, I will tell you that Davy's problems are psychological rather than physical. As you have already noticed, he hears and understands perfectly well. A medical examination also revealed that his vocal organs are unimpaired. The final diagnosis is that a psychological trauma or mental blockage is what prevents him from speaking. As for your anecdote concerning the coin's discovery of the incredible talent that this young man seems to have for figures, it reminds me of similar child prodigy cases. I've requested their files from my colleagues and hope to learn more. All I can say now is that your employee has a phenomenal memory for figures, and that an adapted teaching program could enable him to exploit his talent further and benefit his community. Best regards, Dr. L. Lacosta. I'm not sure.
This metal tube is approximately 40 centimeters in length and 18 in diameter. It bears a small tag which reads, "This one without defect. My sincere apologies, E. Otis."
What the devil are you doing, Holmes?
Much more. Of course, it is an African swallow, but a disturbing tale about wild creatures and marshes and swamps from Louisiana near the city of New Orleans. Frightening events have plagued the region in recent history. At the time this book put to press, rumors about mysterious disappearances, discovered mutilated bodies, and fearsome beasts of the swamps continue to haunt the poorer quarters and dockyards of the city. Our story begins 50 years ago, when a noted citizen of New Orleans contacted a world-renowned hunter known as Ward. This gentleman, who wishes to remain anonymous, retained Ward to track and kill a beast that was terrorizing his workers. These freedmen worked in his fishery and lived in infamous wooden shacks built along the outer banks of the swamp. Over the last year or more, there were mounting numbers of unexplained disappearances and deaths, which happened with alarming regularity, particularly at the high tide. His men reported finding the mutilated and half-eaten bodies of men floating out from the swamp, and even more alarming, young women had been mysteriously disappearing. At first, he appealed to the local authorities, but was met with indifference. They blamed these incidents on his own hired men who lived beside the swamp. The local constabularies reasoned that these people originated in Africa, where sacrificial rites involving young virgins were common. As for the fate of these of the men found dead, they argued this was most certainly the work of alligators, which filled the swamps. Our good citizen thought this highly unlikely as the area was teeming with game. He knew from personal experience that alligators rarely attack humans when fish and natural food are readily available. He also rejected the notion that sacrificial rites were involved. Had that been the case, his men would not have asked for his help and could have handled the matter themselves. Ward was told the workers usually disappeared while dredging for crayfish. As far as was known, 12 girls had disappeared recently and no less than 7 young men had been found dead. The workers now refused to enter the swamp, even to withdraw their gear. Adding to the tension were rumors of a grotesque and scaly silhouette seen by a fisherman in the distant fog. Ward was offered a large sum to hunt down the presumed beast and return with it to the man's hired workers, so that he could return to fishing for crayfish and forget about the complaints. Ward accepted the commission, cleaned his weapon, and hired a local guide who knew the swamp. Left on a boat that very same day. For the next 2 weeks they searched the swamp, leaving early in the morning and coming back late at night. One evening, Ward came back anxious and excited. He said they discovered the trail deep in the swamp, and his guide heard something that initially sounded like singing, but in dreadful, guttural, and discordant voices. Ward explained that it might have been the mating call of a bull alligator or some other large reptile. He promised to go there first thing in the morning and return with its head. They left at dawn and later gunshots were heard from the depths of the swamp. The evening came and went with no sign of Ward or his guide, nor were they seen the next day and into the next weeks. However, the strange disappearance in the depths ended. People speculated that Ward, his guide, and the beast had killed each other in some ferocious battle. Then some months later, an extraordinary thing occurred. A fisherman discovered what appeared to be a white man caught in quicksand. The man, upon discovery, shouted with panic and attempted to escape. The fisherman was forced to stop him with an oar in order to bring him in. The man had moss, seaweed, and muck, all teeming with worming, covering his gaunt frame. His features were buried on a thick beard and wild tangle of hair. Despite his appearance, which was barely human, some people claimed to recognize Ward's eagle eyes. He was also naked. His teeth were strangely sharpened, and his eyes were feverish and barely able to focus. Worst of all were the terrible, strange scars that covered his entire body. The symmetry resembled the work of some deranged artist of madman. Though many thought the opposite, the authorities decided that Ward had inflicted these marks upon himself and locked him in a cell, saying he must surely be insane. After doctors examined him, he was officially judged to be mad and sent to the mental hospital in Baton Rouge. There he remained locked up until the end of his short life. He spent the last few months of his life there, eating only raw fish and screaming to all who could hear that they had saved him. He cried out that he was the one with them, and he spoke to them in a dream, and his awakening was soon to come. Another historical tale, even more disturbing, comes to us from the British moors, where a white rabbit...
This book has been read often. Tales of Fantastic Hunts by D. Niles.
Mosquitoes.
Ah, a book on the fauna and flora of Louisiana.
Okay. In order to wind up this unique watch, we need to find the figures corresponding to those of the clock according to the same logic. 2 digits are already marked to help you figure out what method to use. Good luck.
A newspaper from 5 days ago. Someone has torn the last page. Well, it seems Arneson tried his hand at a small riddle in this newspaper. How strange. He does not seem the type to take interest in mathematical conundrums. This should prove useful.
Was that a lemon tree? And all I ever see is a motherfucking
tight.
lemon tree, and I wonder, bum. Get up, dum. Dilly up, dum. And I'm dum. Seriously? Alright. This has been eventful. There's a dead body downstairs, and we're just kind of...
Closed. Tight.
We got a hammer and some nails, and... footprints! Look, Watson!
What's this? Someone placed their hand near this footstep. Judging by the size of the fingers, it seems to be a youth. Why would they lean down here? Of course, to pick something up. These footsteps indicate a person of small stature, and the fact that they are so closely set suggests they made their way with great stealth. Arneson, with his servant, no doubt. These clothes belong to a servant, and judging from their size, he is a small man.
Okay.
I cannot budge the handle. They must have lodged something behind it to hold fast the door. Shh, Watson, listen. Whoever you are, open up. We mean you no harm. Open the door for God's sake. It's a matter of life or death.
This is useless, Holmes.
Watson, your sensibility is appreciated. We shall come back later. Whoever you are, open up.
This is useless, Holmes.
Watson, your sensibility is... Whoever you are, open up. We mean you no harm. Open the door for God's sake. It's a matter of life or death.
This is useless, Holmes.
Watson, your sensibility... Closed. Tight.
Look, Holmes, a raccoon. Come here, you little rascal.
They won't allow us too close, Watson, though the little imps are rather inquisitive by nature.
Well, it's a fucking raccoon. It has rabies. Don't interact with raccoons. They'll bite you. Okay.
Whoever you are, open up. We mean you no harm. Open the door for God's sake. It's a matter of life or death.
This is useless, Holmes.
Watson, your sensibility is appreciated. We shall come back later. Blood! Blood! The body was dragged from behind this door. They killed the man who was sitting there, and the trail of blood begins here. So this would be the body they dragged through the gate.
Holmes! Here!
Very interesting.
Okay. Four, 3, 2, 2.
This isn't right. Perhaps if I begin again.
Not the squares between. Oh god, it's like math. How can I open the safe? Oh boy. It's math.
I cannot do this.
Let me underline how much I hate math. Solutions on the last page. Let's go back to the garden, I guess. And look for raccoon nests. The raccoon was around here somewhere. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching this episode of Wagon Place. I hope you enjoyed it.
Closed. Tight.
I'm a little bit lost because math, and I hate, like, I don't do math, like, at all. So literally, yes, I am going to look up the solution for the math problem because
Closed. Tight.
that is just not my thing. I don't do math, and no one can force me to do math. I'm an adult. I do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, okay. That out of the way. See you guys next time. Until then, bye.